All right, have and have not fans. Hope everyone is doing well as we close out the year. What a 2020 it has been, for better or worse. Sheesh. All right, guys, please take a moment to go ahead and like this video, hit subscribe, click the bell notification icon and select all. That way you don't miss out whenever I post new content to the channel, and follow me on my various social media platforms. Links are in the description below. $54 million. Now, I knew Catherine mentioned this back in like season 2, or was it 3? 3? I think it was 3. Basically, it was after Jennifer Salson was assassinated, and she pretty much made it clear that she could pretty much, in a snap, take away Veronica's lavish lifestyle because she owns a majority share in the bank, which is more than what Veronica owns in terms of the share of the bank. So basically, Catherine knew that at any time she could make it so Veronica loses it all. And I remember last season, what was it, the finale or the episode prior to the finale? It was basically when Veronica was on the bed full of money and she invited Samuel over, and I'm thinking, how in the world does she have all this money, especially cash, no doubt, just on this bed when she is in, according to Catherine, crippling debt. Now remember, at that time, we did not know how much, but now we finally have a number to it. $54 million. Now we know that it's up to Catherine/Hannah to decide if the loan should still be in default. I think it was Don that went over to the house in the last episode, and Hannah said, "I'll talk to Mrs. Cryer and I'll get back to you on that." Now, we know that in the preview, it looks like Hannah's going to have a little fun with this because she said she'll handle it herself. So we'll just have to wait and see if, Veronica's going to have to, for a lack of a better phrase, shuck and jive to Hannah in order to get those loans remaining in default. Now, there are two ways this could play out. I think the one that makes the most sense is Veronica not doing what Hannah wants her to do because she refuses to let this cursing Christian have power over her. And also look at the fact that, kind of like Jim, he's going through these ridiculous lengths in order to get the power of attorney instead of just talking to Hannah like a human being and requesting the $500,000 that he claims he needs. Now, Veronica could possibly try to get revenge or have Hannah killed. I don't know, one or the other. But look at the fact that for whatever reason, Tyler Perry has kind of been sowing the seeds as of last season that David apparently has this thing for Hannah, and in her wet dream, the dream ended with David telling Veronica that, "I never told you that I was in love with Hannah." And it's like, wait, what? So was this all leading up to this or what? I have no idea. I mean, in one of my other videos, I talked about how maybe Veronica and Jim both find out that they both want to get Hannah for their, own reasons. But at the same time, it's one of those situations where Jim is trying to have Veronica killed for David's sake, but at the same time, they both find a common enemy in Hannah, so they decide to work together. I could see that happening, kind of like how Jim and Warlock worked together in jail, how Veronica and Candace had a brief alliance, but, Veronica being Veronica took things to her own hands. I think that, at some point they could possibly go after Hannah together, but I think the most interesting dynamic, well, technically another two, I'm sorry, I keep saying, it's 2, but now it's 4. Those are my first 2 theories. Here are 2 other theories I think would be interesting. Number 1, the fake death, because, if Laura dies and Veronica is thought to be her by the Hood, they'll leave her alone. So basically Akil and the Hood, who are working against her, will think they've done their job and Veronica is free to go. but then she'll have to go into hiding. And as a result, her debt will be, something she won't have to deal with. But then again, she would really have to go undercover, like change identities and things like that. I mean, there's no way that Veronica Harrington, she's a well-known attorney and socialite, so her death would have to be legit, if you will. Not to mention, the law enforcement and whatnot in this universe that Tyler Perry's created have been highly incompetent. So, you could argue, well, Jeremy, if Laura gets killed and it's thought that it's Veronica, what about forensics and DNA and all? Again, it's all about the power of plot. If Veronica wants to escape, Veronica can escape. So I think that in terms of this debt, the alternative way that her loans could remain on default is simply Veronica helping Catherine get out of jail. But then again, I think Marty said that George was planning to use Veronica as a witness, so in that situation she couldn't be utilized. But again, plot convenience. If it's meant to work out, then it will work out the way it's planned. So once again, I'm thinking that Veronica has to ask do whatever Hannah says, but at the same time become suspect of Hannah and David, especially, with David saying, I want to sleep with you. Wait, what? But we know that's a plan that Jim and David have. I think one of the running, not gags, but the running themes of this show is usually the male or the male characters, like, Jim and David. Their plans always end up clashing with the females' plans. Go back to the early seasons and you'll see what I mean. Usually when David and Jim are working on something, it usually ends up colliding with a Catherine or Veronica plan. And it's like either one of their plans would have worked in theory, but the fact that they work in secret, they don't know they're actually stepping on the toes of the other person. So I feel like at the end of the day, if Veronica catches David and Hannah in a compromising position, or hell, even if it's just the two of them alone, she's automatically going to assume the worst. Like, let's say her and Hannah talk, and then she finally decides to, all right, Mrs. Young, and like, let's say she goes over to Catherine's house, for once in her life on, good terms, good spirits, but then catches David and Hannah just talking, she will lose her mind. So I think she'll do that, or either fake her death, through Laura in order to avoid the debt, or once again, represent Catherine in court and by extension get a default on those loans. So with that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What will Veronica do to get out of this debt? I honestly don't know what she could do. I honestly don't know. And, look at all the time she's like, what was it? She saved Melissa's parents' business from bankruptcy. She's had a lot of people wrapped around her finger due to financial and legal connections. But at the end of the day, you have a have-not. Remember what Alice said before she quit. She's like, it's always the people with you don't think who are a threat, who have more power than you can ever imagine. Look at little Hannah now. Little Miss Hannah has the ability to take it all away from Veronica, and I'm here for it. So, with that being said, thanks so much for tuning in. If you'd like to donate to the channel, I'm not asking for $54 million. Feel free to donate on PayPal or Cash App, or join my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you soon.